Hey guys, welcome back to NWCS. And now that we have everything all glued together, we still haven't tackled the miters yet. I did not actually implement my idea to actually drive screws in them yet. So what I'm doing now, actually just routing all the inside pieces. This is going to be the face of the Muntin bars. So I'm taking a chamfer bit and then I'm going to route out each one of the individual panes. First thing I'm going to do though is actually take shallow passes. I'm going to slowly lower the bit because I want to try to prevent any burning or any tear out at this point. Because these are already fully assembled, it will kind of suck to have large chunks blow out on me as I'm going through this process. So by taking a shallow pass going all the way around all 6 panes, I can then work my way back. Another thing you could do, instead of lowering your router bit, you could just kind of take your router and skim along the edge. Don't fully engage the bearing, just to take a shallow pass, and then on your second pass around, make sure the bearing fully makes contact, and then you can take your full depth passes. I do have to again align each one of my corners before I actually do the outside panes, because I have not driven the screws in there yet. That's something I didn't really fully think about until later, so here you see me kind of going through the process of trying to get the corner perfectly aligned before I go through the routing process. And one thing that I tried to do that I thought would help is to use this clamp as a spreader, reverse the jaws on them, spread it open so that way I can actually kind of pull the longer clamp together. Once the miter was perfect, I was hoping I can let it go and it'll stay perfectly where it is and I can go to the routing process. And I kind of do that for each one of the individual corners. And then again, the screw idea did not kick in until everything was fully assembled and fully routed. I definitely wish, that had dawned on me to fully assemble the corners, or a way to fully assemble these corners before I went through this whole entire routing process. It would have made it go a lot faster. A couple different ways that you could do it. Again, I decided to use pre-drilling some holes and coming back with screws. But another really solid method that would have done this too is a simple glue and pin nails. The pin nail would have just held it in place until the glue dried, but it would have allowed it to sit there until it dried versus me trying to use the band clamps or everything else that I actually attempted in the previous video. But again, a little bit of aligning, a lot of fussing, and I'm able to get all these routed out. So we're going to pick back up once I have all these routed. The next thing I need to do is actually run the rabbeting bit on the back side, which again, I didn't record that, but essentially we're going to catch back up once I switch over to a chisel. I'm going to clean up all the corners, and I'm going to show you guys how I do that. So I'll see you guys in just a moment. One step that I did gloss over was me actually rabbeting the backside of all the Muntin bars. And to do so, all thing I did was switch over to a rabbeting bit inside of my router and then take a pass along the inside of all the window panes. I did do it in 2 different depths because I wanted to again try to avoid any type of tear out. And the goal for this was to make sure that I had enough room for the glass panes on the depth wise, and also I wanted to make sure that I had enough room to apply my moldings I'm going to put on the backside. I want the chamfer moldings that I make for the backside to actually equal the same profile as on the front. So I left myself a 1/2 inch deep rabbet, and then with an 1/8 inch piece of glass, I have a 3/8 inch chamfer, and then that equals up to the same profile as on the front. One thing I do have to do though, because the router bit leaves a rounded corner, is actually clean up all the square corners, or square off all the corners. And to do so, I took a straight edge and just kind of continued the router path all the way past the corners on 2 different sides, which creates my new 90-degree corner that I need to chisel out. And then I'm going to take my chisel, which they're semi-sharp. Again, I'm not the best hand tool enthusiast, but I do have a sharpening stone. I kind of have a gist of how to keep them sharp. It's good enough to get this project done, but I definitely wish I had a set of nice chisels. And, probably a couple of flattening stones so I can actually get them dialed in nicely. It's definitely a skill I plan to pick up, because in cases like this, it's kind of no other way to square off this corner, because rabbets will always leave me with a rounded corner, and they can't cut my glass round, and neither can I make my moldings that I want to put on the backside rounded on the inside. So hand tools are definitely an extremely important skill to have. You're going to see me exercise this. One thing I will say in doing this process though, when you hammer down with the chisel, to make sure that you're not trying to take off too much material. So essentially, if you have a line, instead of putting your chisel directly on that line, start slightly in front of it and kind of half the material as you chop. If you're trying to take off a bunch of material, you're more than likely to have your chisel go askew and not plunge down straight. And also, you want to actually use the sides that you already have, perfectly plumb as a reference edge for the back edge of your chisel. One thing you could do is clamp a block to align itself to give your chisel a straighter edge to plumb down on. It's more important when you're doing like mortises to actually have that straight edge, but in this case, I think I can actually get it straight enough with just, my eye and by feel. But I'm going to work my way around all these corners, and then I'm going to clean everything up. I think I do take a nice close-up for you guys. I'll see you guys once we get enough of these cleaned out. voila, after 30 minutes of me hand chiseling, I have 2 corners taken care of. Hand tools are great. But if you guys have enjoyed, please make sure you guys leave me a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.